Rivers, for many a symbol of life and hope. But sometimes the symbolism attached to rivers can be painful and sad. In the Long March, for example, more than half the losses sustained by the Red Army took place along rivers. And for those who survived, entrusted by the fallen to carry on the sacred task of building China anew, the ordeal was only just beginning. In this episode, Scott travels west into China's Guangxi and Hunan provinces to retrace the next stage of the Red Army's epic march.
I'm now here in Quanzhou County, Guilin in Guangxi Province. Now, the river that I'm walking across right here is the Xiangjiang River. Now, this originates and stems from the Guangxi Province, and then as you can see here, it goes northeast through the mountains out into Hunan Province. Now, because the water river flow is actually quite fast, on both sides of the riverbank, people have always found it very difficult to cross, meaning they can't access each other, do trade, etc., etc. Now, this bridge that I'm on right here is obviously just a temporary solution, but over there, we can see that they are building a fully fledged reinforced concrete bridge. And once that's completed, it means that people on both sides of the river will be able to access each other and enjoy all the benefits of both sides of the river.
This is an ordinary scene that can be seen everywhere in rural China today. But more than 80 years ago, things were very different. For the Red Army, the Xiangjiang River was so much more than a river. It was a line separating life and death, a barrier standing between them and the reactionary forces determined to wipe them off the face of the earth.
那时候我们从这块修设一下往东家堰渡江，那时候你渡江的时候呢，敌人飞机就来轰炸，
飞机飞过来扔炸弹，我听老人说扔炸弹，那扔下来就是死了一大片一大片人，然后整个湘江水就被染红了，然后尸体呢到处是飘的这种尸体，就感觉到太惨了。3年不饮湘江水，10年不食湘江鱼，这么个说法，就老百姓一直这样子流传下来。
Of the then 80,000 plus soldiers of the Red Army, nearly 50,000 sacrificed their lives at the Xiangjiang River. It was the worst defeat the Red Army suffered along the entire route of the march.
Decades after the Xiangjiang campaign, villagers are still constantly finding remains of the Red Army soldiers who died during this battle. They find these bodies and these bones all over the mountain, in the forests, in the caves, and in the valleys where they died. Now, for years, the local government has tried to collect these bones and these bodies and have collectively buried them on the backside of the mountain where the battle took place. However, because unfortunately most of the bodies are unable to be identified, instead of tombstones, they used rocks to recognize and remember the soldiers. And like this one, instead of a name, they simply have a number. The entire hillside before me is covered by thousands and thousands of nameless memorial stones.
A long and arduous journey ahead, the worst yet to come, and already they were dropping like flies. What gave them the power to carry on? People say that the Long March was a miracle, a real-life miracle made possible by everyone working together. People, party and army, driven forward by shared goals and lofty ideals. The roads on the border between Hunan and Guangxi provinces are full of twists and turns. The 5 undulating mountain ranges, known as the 5 Ridges, divide the 4 provinces of Jiangxi, Guangdong, Hunan, and Guangxi. Local villagers have especially fond memories of the 3 Red Army women who passed through here.
你好，是朱爷爷吗？
是。
哎，朱爷爷你好，我是高瑞。
你好，
你好，你好，你好。
你是外国朋友。
没错，没错，我是英国的。
Mr. Zhu tells me that when the Red Army made a stopover at Shazhou village, 3 female medics lodged with his mother for 6 nights.
那就是我妈妈的故事啊。
你妈妈的故事，可以跟我讲讲吗？
当年3个女红军就和我妈妈睡这张床，就是这样的。我告诉你啊，睡横的。
就躺在，就这边睡，
你这脚就往这个床。
就这边睡，然后一起用一条被子，
啊，
就那个破烂的被子，
首先盖上他们那个行军被，行军被上面加上我本家这个烂棉絮、烂蓑衣，
就像这样的
啊，就盖在上面，就是这样的蓑衣啊。
咦，好不舒服。
那个没有办法。他们提前走的时候啊，他就为了感激我妈妈，看到我家里很贫穷，把他们那个行军被经过一场群战要送给我妈妈，我妈妈就不肯要。好，这个女红军呢，她就问我妈妈有没有捡到，但是我妈妈呢就认为他们路上有用，真正拿出来，3个女红军打开他们那个行军被，就对半解开，要我妈妈收这一半，还这样说：“曲大姐，这半条被子你一定要收下，做个纪念。等到战争胜利了，我们还会来看你，还会买新被子送你。”
Stories like this abound along the Long March route. It didn't take long for rural people to realise that this army's goal was to make life better for ordinary people like themselves. Communication and trust helped the Red Army forge ahead in China's remote mountains. Today, convenient transportation has brought tourists and business to the small villages scattered in the hills. People can sell local specialties on their doorsteps. Thanks to new roads and bridges, urban and rural China are being pulled together. Now everyone can share in China's development. But despite the improvements in transportation, you need something really special to induce people to venture deeper and higher into the mountains. That's one reason why the authorities have been promoting carp aquaculture in paddy fields as a way of alleviating poverty in these highland areas.
哎，今天在忙什么呢？
放这个鹅黄鱼，放到这个稻田里面。
为什么呢？
增加一点收益，嫩农民。
Fish kept in rice paddies can feed on insects and rice blossoms that fall into the water. Thanks to this special diet, the flesh of these fish is said to have a rice-like fragrance.
其实你来这里干什么的？
我这一次呢是专门跟着当年红军的长征，然后听说当时他们也就是走过你们这个村子是吧？
啊，对，听到前辈老人家讲，长征红军啊，有些伤员到我们这里住宿啊，这个老百姓就把这个鹅黄鱼赶去给红军吃，
就专门给他们吃这些好吃的，因为营养方面
营养价值高啊，半个值相当高。
然后
那红军好好感谢老百姓。
In this way, the carp eaten here by the Red Army gained a nationwide reputation. which is why the township government thought it would be a good idea to attract tourists with these little fish, increasing farmers' incomes and improving their lives. In order to create a brand, the township government has not only established breeding cooperatives, but also invited chefs from major cities to teach the locals how to cook and develop new fish dishes. So, thanks to this initiative, these rice paddy carp are bringing tourists and prosperity to the area. In only a year, the industry's value surged by 40 million yuan, pumping 200 million yuan of output value into the processing, catering and tourism sectors. The income generated by raising carp now exceeds income from farming. The government also built a road leading to the mountaintop. Thanks to this initiative, the mountaintop is attracting even more investment and becoming a unique tourist attraction.
At the top of this mountain, which is about 1,000 meters above sea level, turns out to be this beautiful, expansive grassland. Now, the local villagers here have teamed up with the government and they're hoping to invite even more tourists here to enjoy both beautiful food and, of course, this exquisite scenery. Now, this also, they hope, will enable the local villagers to enjoy a more prosperous life without having to emigrate.
On its way through the mountains, the Red Army entered lands controlled by ethnic minorities. Here, the Kuomintang army gave up the chase, supposing it had an unwitting ally in the form of the local Dong people. Surely, these formidable warriors, who had given Kuomintang warlords so much trouble in the past, wouldn't let the Red Army pass through the territory without a fight.
We 洞俗的是用那鼓楼是用来议事的，那个每一个家属都建一座鼓楼。
那为什么这个叫做红军楼？
当年红军长征的时候，住进我们龙坪村，住在我们龙坪的时候，发生了一场大火。发生了大火呢，把这边后边这个北边这边已经烧光了。所以红军战士呢，他拼命的把这座鼓楼抢救下来。因为如果不抢救下来，这个楼往南边那边倒下去，那下面那片寨子也是烧殃了，
就没了。
哦，我就没了。侗族人们呢，为了感恩共产党、红军，所以把这个杨氏鼓楼改名为红军楼。
During the Long March, the Red Army's 3 main rules of discipline and 6 points of conduct played a crucial role. These regulations stipulated that the soldiers, first of all, should not take anything from the people. Also, that they should speak kindly. Next was that if they do borrow something, they must return it. Later, they also added extra rules, which included things like avoiding women when bathing and also digging their own sanitary pits and toilets. Now, all of these rules were simple and easy to understand, but of course in wartime, not easy to implement and manage. However, it was exactly because the soldiers of the Red Army did follow and stick to these principles that they earned the trust and respect of all the communities and people that they passed along their route.
Today, new roads are being built, connecting large and small Dong villages. Nowadays, people can see many more newly constructed drum towers. Local people say that they are living better than ever and that their drum towers are getting higher and more beautiful.
Here in Lejiang town, I've just seen this brand new built drum tower. And this is definitely the biggest drum tower I've seen on the whole journey.
The local people still name this new drum tower after the Red Army. After dinner, the villagers gather under the drum tower and spend the happiest time of the day together. While faster and more convenient transportation has given young people here access to opportunities outside their home villages, the downside has been a sudden vitality-sapping loss of labour in the villages themselves. Large differences between rural and urban areas are a reality in many parts of the world. But in 2017, the Chinese government made a strategic decision on rural revitalization, ultimately aimed at realizing the great dream of common prosperity. Answering the clarion call of this initiative and the various policies put in place to support it, successful entrepreneurs have returned to their hometowns in droves, bringing capital and new ideas with them. I made an appointment with Mr. Bin, who had just come back from Guangdong where he used to work. He's going to show me his new workplace.
高老师，我们已经到地了，我们走吧。
好 Okay. Mr. Bin just told me that he is the minister for the company's Ministry of Agriculture, and he is responsible for leading and encouraging all of the workers who farm the land here. 就这样下是吧？我这个还是比较原始的一个种田的方式是吧？这还要吃东西。
我以前是在广东打工的，那个砖窑啊，削砖搬砖的咯。
真正的搬砖。
对，前我们村里面有800多个人，在家里面最多不超过100个人在村里面了，啊，就是小孩、老人啦。我们村如果不搞这个项目啊，再过30年，我们村呢
没了，
没什么人了。
Dabitou Village has now become a modern holiday resort that provides hot springs and tourism services. Instead of acquiring land for tourism, the company hired farmers to replant the abandoned fields.
那些游客过来啊，他也想过来体验一下，我说可以啊，要小心一点啊。
今天我就哎呦，哎，速度还是挺快的哈。
你在家做点了？
我从来没走过。哎，你学会了一点。哎呀！哇，跑起来了！你们是那个谁什么我这样可以发工资吗？可以。 他已经尿了几次，拉了几次，我跟你说嘛，全部都是他的屎和尿。
I tell you what, even though it's clearly not me doing the work, it's obviously the bull there. But you really do have to work some to control the rudder there to make sure all the mud gets turned over right. It's physical labour. but at the same time really fun and really interesting. I love the fact that this is a hands-on opportunity to get to understand how traditional agriculture all around the world has happened. Hands-on, mud under fingernails, mud in your toenails, etc. Sweat on your brow, and some traditional agriculture happening right here, right now. Absolutely fantastic.
The one who returned to the village with billions of yuan was the first college student in the village after China's reform and opening up. When hearing that he wanted to return to his hometown and start a tourism business, his friends advised him to invest cautiously. However, he was quite optimistic in light of the government's rural revitalization strategy. Most of the 700 people in the village now work for the company, and even young people from neighboring villages have come to work in depict. On the hillside, luxury spa villas are under construction, and because the investor has strong confidence in national economic development and people's spending power, investment is on the up. It's also good to know that the company's employees have the opportunity to enjoy its services.
每一个月要过来2-3次，有时候带我老婆一次来泡温泉的。
I think I'm going to stay here a few days longer. I'm now taking a high-speed train from Guangxi over to Hunan province, which is roughly in the same direction that the Red Army travelled, but of course without the same experience. Now, the Yuechenglin that I'm crossing right here is the largest of the Wuling mountain system and was the first mountains that the Red Army travelled and crossed during their long march. Now, as we can see, they're really mountainous and we've got lots of tunnels as we go through all of this fine territory. But these mountain ranges really left a strong impression on the soldiers of the Red Army during the long march.
Today, I only took 3 hours to arrive at Xupu County, Hunan, through the Yuecheng Mountains. High-speed trains have become a powerful accelerator for rural revitalization. Stepping out of the high-speed railway station, you immediately arrive at the foot of the Xuefeng Mountain scenic area. Now, 60% of tourists come here by high-speed train.
As we can see, this super narrow path is really only suitable to use a horse to transport goods to and from on. Now, I've heard that the surrounding area received quite a boost from tourism economics. But what I didn't realise is part of the reason for that is that this very road, this tiny path which the Red Army soldiers took during the Long March, has now actually become a really popular tourism hiking route for people to enjoy.
There's a Chinese saying that goes, "Do not forget the past misery when in pursuit of happiness." In this sense, this hiking route is not only for sightseeing and exercise, but also educational. These Xupu people will not forget that 3,000 of them chose to join the Red Army during the Long March. In addition to the Red Army's Long March route, there's another way to the top of the mountain at an altitude of about 1,000 meters. This winding road was built in 2018 to the highest specifications and is called the Red Army Spirit Road. Whereas it once took half a day to travel up the mountain, now it takes less than an hour. At the end of the road is a unique village of a branch of the Yao ethnic group. Thanks to tourism, the traditional embroidery art of Hua Yao has survived and flourished. These people's unique cross-stitch tradition was first recorded 2,000 years ago in the Han Dynasty. The colourful patterns resemble modern pixel art, but because it takes 3 years to finish one piece of work, the tradition was once on the verge of dying out. Now, with the development of tourism, this ancient craft is prospering again. In addition, the villagers spend every night singing with tourists from all over the country. It's just as if every night is a festival night. Going west, I took various roads between the mountains. They continue to change people's lives in the deep mountain communities.
This stockaded village in the Xiangxi Valley is called Aizhai, which means low village. Now it's called so because at the top of the mountains are where all the other villages have made their home, where they sit. But Aizhai sits right here at the bottom of this valley. So in both a physical and a metaphorical sense, all the other villages have always looked down on Aizhai. However, since the construction of this absolutely amazing Aizhai Bridge, which as we can see, spans right the way across the mountains, now Aizhai has become the shining star and has the envy of all of the other villages at the top, which previously looked down on it.
At an altitude of more than 350 meters, this gigantic project connecting the two ends of the canyon 1.4 kilometers apart inspires awe in all those who stand before it. What's more, soon after the Aizhai Bridge created many firsts in China and the world, its records were soon broken by other Chinese projects. All the modern bridges and roads I passed along the way have profoundly changed China. More than 80 years ago, after crossing the Xiangjiang River, the Red Army suffered a heavy blow. But they continued on their perilous journey. Their faith in the cause undiminished, building a bond of mutual trust with ordinary people and sharing with them their lofty dream. Today, every road, every channel of communication, every means of exchange and sharing is a continuation of the long march to change the lives of the Chinese people for the better.